Part 4 of the Megadrone build, and look at it. We have got ourselves a 1000 oscillator Megadrone. Also known as the KiloDrone, because kilo, 1000. It's like a football stadium full of synthesizers, literally on the wall, and I don't believe it's done. So basically a backstory of this is I started thinking about this right at the beginning of lockdown. And I basically spent most of the months of lockdown period sat in my flat on the desk soldering all of the parts into this machine. And it was a reasonably brain-numbing experience, to say the least. But hopefully, if you're anything like me, I really think the brain-numbing experience was really worthwhile, because this is pretty ridiculous. So there's basically 100 panels that are exactly the same. You can see one right here. This is basically a bank of 10 oscillators. Each oscillator has a fine tune knob that goes woo, so you can tune them all independently, as well as a mix knob, so you can turn the volume up and down. You'll notice that every single one of these panels has a red knob on it. This red knob is the master tune for that panel, which means you can sort of control the overall tuning on the oscillators. The oscillators are nowhere near perfect, which means that all of these tune in a different curve, which means that they get into tune at one point, the rest of it, they're sort of out of tune with each other, which I hope when we turn it all on, it's gonna sound magical. But I might be wrong, and this might just be a complete and utter waste of time. If you look closely, you'll see there's names on every single one of the knobs. These are my patrons on Patreon, which basically made this project possible. Needless to say, without these people, I definitely would not have been able to afford such a silly machine. So thank you very much to the amazing people, such as good old Dick Tingley. Thank you very much, good old Dick Tingley. At the bottom of the machine, you'll see extra panels. These are passive mixers. What they do is they take the signal from the separate modules above and mix them down into a single stream. And I did it like this to be able to maximize the configuration of the way it could possibly be done. I've wired it up right now so we can get everything plugged in and just roaring through your laptop speakers. Every single simple job on this is extremely long-winded because it's just the same thing over and over again. For instance, I spent most of yesterday putting in the jack cables and just troubleshooting and fixing any problems that turned up along the way. At the bottom you can see I actually put a bit of guttering in to sort of hold the wires. Alas, the wires have sort of overflowed, much like water would in a badly maintained guttering on your roof, so keep your gutters maintained. And this is going to be open to the public, so I need to sort this out, but that'll be another problem that we're going to look at further down the line. Right now I just want to see it up and running. All in all, there's 2,400 knobs, 2,400 potentiometers, 400 jack sockets, about 220 jack cables, around 8,000 resistors, about 1,000 diodes. We got 100 IC thingamajiggies. Yeah, all in all, there's an awful lot going on. Well, what was all this waste of time for? Well, let's find out. Let's see if it was really worthwhile. I'm not that fussed if it sounds like crap because it looks so cool, whatever. And now I've just got to let it warm up for a little bit, and then we're going to try and tune it. And the tuning is probably going to take me about an hour to 2 hours. Basically what I've got to do is get every single one of these oscillators playing at pretty much the same note. The thing is they're never going to be exactly the same, which means that it's going to be an extremely large and in-charge sound. I don't know what it's going to sound like. I have an idea because I did a test at 500 oscillators. You can see that video. The links are in the description, but this is 1,000. This is twice as much as that. Is it going to sound the same? Maybe, but we don't know. I need to stand on something to get to the top because it's about 2.5 meters to the top. I'm 6 foot and yeah, I can't reach the top of it without standing on something. Right now you're listening to one oscillator. Now you're listening to 10 oscillators. Now you're listening to 100 oscillators. I'm going to turn the pitch down so it just makes a load of noise. We're going to turn up all 1,000 oscillators, which is basically the same as 1,000 violinists and cellists just playing the same note, just constantly. And yeah, we're going to turn it up and hope for an amazing resolution, and fingers crossed we don't open a wormhole or the gates of hell. But the only way to find out if that's not going to happen is just to give it a go. oscillators that are completely out of tune with each other. When I twist this knob down here, it should all come up into an amazing resolution that will conclude this 4 months of pure boring soldering and just ridiculously long hours just putting this thing together. I really hope it's worth it. So there we go, that is the KiloDrone. And did you think it was too much? In my opinion, there are two answers to that. When it's all in tune with each other, I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we can go even further. Maybe just one more. Maybe that's all it needs. As for when it's sweeping up to the point of resolution, I think it might be too much. Even 100 is nearly enough. I did a little bit of a test yesterday on just 100. And it sounded better, but it was still sounding rather chaotic. The issue I think is there are so many notes building up to the crescendo, so many that you cannot even differentiate it. It just sounds like noise, nearly right up to the point of when it gets all in tune, and it sounds like a switch like that instead of a smooth movement. And I think that is down to the fact that there's just so many oscillators going on. So to do the sweep, it's got a certain sound to it, but I think it could be done better with less. However, when it's all playing at once, it's all encompassing. It's pretty strange sounding. This is not the final video on this one. No. We're going to do another one that's going to look at different things that we can do with it. For instance, having each column tuned to a different note, and we can play a song using a mixing desk or something like that, and many other things. If you have any ideas of what you want to hear doing with this, then please comment below. Swanky things. I think it's going to be rubbish at FM, whatever, but some reason somebody would want this to sound like a big DX7. I have no idea why the heck they would want to do that, but sure, whatever, we'll look into it. Like I said, I cannot thank you enough, and I'm eternally grateful to my patrons on Patreon for being able to support something like this amongst the other machines, and it's actually getting very close to my top goal, which I never thought I would reach, which was actually opening a museum, and I'm actually working on that. It's not only my things, it's going to be a bunch of other things as well. Me and my partner are trying to work at being able to offer residencies, this, that, and the other, so being able to offer for people to come and just play on this for a day or two, just try and see what they can do. I don't know, it's all a work in progress and we're looking into it. And if you want to support this community venture sort of thing, then please go and check over on my Patreon, because the support obviously kind of comes out in forms of this. So thank you very much for that. Thanks again to my partner Melanie, who actually sat down and wrote all the names on the knobs, and she's beginning to actually document them onto a website. So we've got all of the names and all the pictures, so you can find out if your name is on this, you can find out where it is and all that stuff. Keep an eye on my website next week, because I will actually be offering PCB and panel projects for these. So if you want to even build one, or you want to just go crazy and build a whole bunch, I'm trying to work out bulk options and stuff like that, then please check out next week. They'll be in stock. But yes, until the next big pointless synth project, I've been Look Mum No Computer. If you like this, subscribe and whatnot, and don't be scared to try it. Maybe don't try this one. It's a bit silly.